Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. This is Ali Saiful Islam, an assistant teacher of Orion High School of Nogan district of Bangladesh. And you are most welcome in my Saiful English Academy calendars. I hope that you are very fine by the grace of Almighty Allah and watched my previous classes smartly. My dear learners, with the reference of my previous classes, first class I have been present in front of you with a new arrangement and plus named narration of an optative sentence. So my dear learners, knowledge, take a look at the board and try to understand. But before starting today's class, my dear learners, I want to declare a topic of today's class. My dear learners, in this class, at first, I'm trying to show you about the definition of an optative sentence. Secondly, my dear learners, I'm trying to show you about selection of an optative sentence. My dear learners, thirdly, I'm trying to show you about the structure of changing narration of an optative sentence. And finally, my dear learners, I'm trying to show you about some examples with the reference of rule number 1 and rule number 2 of narration of an optative sentence. So my dear learners, knowledge, take a look at the board and try to understand. My dear learners, at first I'm trying to clarify about definition of an objective sentence. If we want to define an objective sentence, we can write or say that, my dear learners, an objective sentence is the sentence which expresses wish or fear of any body. Okay, my dear learners, if we want to define an optative sentence, we can say that, my dear learners, an optative sentence is a sentence which expresses wish or prayer of anybody, of that you have understood clearly, my dear learners. Now I'm trying to show you about the selection of an imperative sentence. You'll have to mind that, my dear learners, we can select an objective sentence mainly into two ways. My dear learners. Number one, starting word may, and finally ended with the lots of full stop. And number two, starting word long live, and finally ended with the notes of full stop. Okay, my dear learners, we can select an objective sentence into choice. Number one, starting word may, and finally ended with the notes of full stop. Number two, starting word long live, and finally ended with the notes of full stop. Of that you have understood clearly, my dear learners. Now I'm trying to show you the structures of changing narration. First, my dear learners, I'm trying to show you rule number one. Rule number one. You'll have to mind that, my dear learners, if any optative sentence is started with may, then in this case you will have to follow the structure. You have to follow the structure. The structure is that, my dear learners. At first, you'll have to use subject of referring verb. Next, we'll have to use played instead of said of repeating verb. Then object must be delayed. Then we'll have to use conjunction that deleting comma inverted comma. Then we will have to use subject of refuted speech, then a verb of refuted speech, then extension of refuted speech, and finally ended with the nouns of full stop. Middle learners, if any optative sentence is started to women, at the time of changing narration, my dear learners will have to follow the structure. What structure? The structure is that, my dear learners, number one, we'll have to use subject of reporting verb. Number two, we'll have to use fried instead of side of reporting verb. Number three, object of reporting verb must be deleted. Number four, conjunction that is used deleting comma and inverted comma. Number six, subject of reported was then verb of reported stage, then extension of reported stage will be written according to the basic rules of narration, and finally get to the notes of full stop. Of that, you have understood clearly, my dear learners. Now I'm trying to write some example with the reference of rule number one. My dear learners, take a look at the board and try to understand. Number one, father said to me, may you pass in the exam. Okay, then let's take a look at the board and try to understand. So, the repeated space of this narration is started, of course, May, and finally ended with a lots of full stop. Of course, it's an optative sentence, and when you will be sure about any kinds of statements, especially starting word May of the optative sentence, at this moment you'll have to follow the structures. At first, my dear learners, will have to use subject of reporting verb. Number two, prayed, prayed instead of sideshow, then object out, then conjunction that is used, then subject. Look at the board and try to understand. Here, subject you. And it said that according to the basic rules of narration, if subject of reported space second person must be changed according to the subject of reporting verb. So, my dear learners, you must be changed according to the subject of father, he. Okay, the next subject you have understood clearly. Then verb may must be changed into might. Then extension has in the exam, full stop. Hope for that you have understood clearly. My dear learners, next example, mother said to Raisha, may you be happy. Okay, my dear learners, try to solve this narration. Yes, sir, my dear learners, refuted switch of this narration is started with me and finally ended with the notes of full stop. Now we'll be sure about this narration, of course, an optative sentence, and when we'll be sure about any kinds of statement, especially starting with me. At this moment, we'll have to follow the structure. At first, subject of reporting verb. Here, subject, mother, then prayed instead of sideshow, then object is deleted and directly left to use connection that. Okay, my dear learners, object you have understood clearly. Then subject of reported space. My dear learners, take a look at the board and try to understand. Subject of course use second person, and according to the basic rules of narration, If subject second person, it must be changed according to object. Here object arises. So you'll have to use, you have to write here direct if object or subject any noun, then you'll have to use to directly that's noun naming words. Okay, maybe words of that you have understood clearly. Might extension be happy. Sorry, my dear learners, look at the board and try to understand the place of subject. Here, subject second person, it must be changed into according to object of reporting verb. So, my dear learners, you must be changed into I. Must be changed into I. Hope that you have understood clearly, my dear learners. Now, I may give another example to clarify, my dear learners. The teacher said to Rohim, may you succeed in life. Okay, my dear learners, take a look at the board and try to understand and try to solve yourselves. Subject the teacher, then Fred is used instead of sexual. Object is out, and that conjunction that is used to deleting comma inverted comma. Then my dear learners try to understand. So here subject of reported space second person, and according to the basic rules of narration, it must be changed according to object of reporting verb. Here object Rohim. My dear learners, in this case, hence object must be deleted. So you'll have to use the direct name if the object is a noun, and you'll have to use that object direct there because noun is a naming word. Okay, my dear learners, Rohim verb may must be changed into might extension succeed in life. Hope that you have understood clearly. My dear learners, and in this case, now I'm trying to show you about rule number two. Rule number two. You'll have to mind that, my dear learners, if any optative sentence is started with long live, then you'll have to follow the structure. The structure is that, my dear learners, at first you'll have to use subject, predicate instead of said, object delete, that conjunction that is used, then subject of a reported space, then a verb of a reported space, then long life must be turned into live long, and finally ended with the notes of full stop. My dear learners, in rule number two, I'm trying to show you about the precondition of this rule number two is that if any optative sentence is started with long live, then you may use this structure. At first, you'll have to use subject of repeating verb. Phrase instead of said, object must be out. Conjunction that is used middle of the statement, deleting comma, inverted comma. Then subject of reported speech according to the basic rules of narration, verbal reported speech according to the basic rules of narration. In this case, remind that, my dear learners, long live must be changed into live long, and finally ended with the notes of full stop. Of the draw, you have understood clearly, my dear learners. Now I'm trying to give some example with the reference of this rule. Take a look at the board and try to understand. We said long live Bangladesh. Okay, my dear learners, Try to solve yourself. Your subject of reporting verb O, prayed instead of said, conjunction that is the middle of the statement, deleting comma, inverted comma. Then subject of reported space. Here subject Bangladesh, of course, third person, and according to the basic rules of narration, there is no change of third person. So write Bangladesh, then verb. Mind that, my dear learners. In this case, such categories of sentence, though there is no any mention of name, but at the time of changing narration, you have to use might as a verb at the time of changing narration from direct to indirect at the case of starting with long life. My dear learners, it's a remarkable things. My dear learners, then long life must be changed into live long. Live long. Hope that you have understood clearly. I may give another example. People said to me, long live our president. Okay, my dear learners, try to understand. My dear learner, take a look at the board and try to understand. And try to solve this narration yourself. At first, you'll have to use subject of reporting verb. People use fried instead of said. My dear learners, object must be deleted. Conjunction that it used middle of the statement, deleting comma, inverted comma, then subject of reported space. Take a look at the board and try to understand. Subjects of reported space is our president. My dear learners, try to draw up here subject our president, and then try to draw up our as oil. Okay, my dear, let's now think about this positive form of our is subjective form of our is, of course, we. Of course, first person, you know that you are my dear learners, because it was the discussion matter of my previous classes. Okay, my dear learners, and we are told that, my dear learners, if subject first person is must be changed according to subject of reporting verb. It's subject reporting verb before, that means there. Objective form them and passive form of there is there. So in this case, you had better write not our president, their president, their president, their president. Okay, my dear learners, use verb, write verb. In this case, you'll have to write down verb might as a verb. Then long life must be changed into live long. Okay, my dear learners, of the you have understood clearly. Then, my dear learners, I may give another example to clarify this problem. Raisha said show may long live, sorry, your mother. Okay, my dear nuts, I have given this statement for you, only for you. My dear nuts, try to solve this problem yourselves according to the structures of this word. Okay, my dear nuts, thank you. So, my dear nuts, we may write the answers of this narration is that at first subject Raisha, sorry, Raisha prayed instead of sexual. Object must be deleted. Then conjunction that is used middle of the statement, deleting comma, inverted comma. Then subject of reported space. subject of reported speech is your mother here. So you may do rough mother, your mother. Your objective form of possessive you and subjective you, of course, of course, my dear learners, as second person and it must be changed according to object of reported speech. Here object me, that means me, I, mine. So in this case, my dear learners, you had better write not your mother, my mother. Then write verb might. Then long live must be changed into live long. Hope that you have understood it clearly. My dear learners, finally, I want to summarize today's class. My dear learners, in this class, at first I was trying to make you understand the definition of an optative sentence. Secondly, I'm trying to show you about the selection of an optative sentence. Thirdly, I was trying to make you understand about structures of changing narration of an optative sentence. And finally, I have given some examples to clarify and about various kinds of problem of narration, especially often optative sentence. Maybe learners, I don't want to learn today's class, but before finishing today's class, I want to share some information with you. My dear learners, of course, you know that I'm a new teacher or new teacher in YouTube channels, and though I'm Bangladeshi by birth, but I'm trying to use English conversation at the time of my making various kinds of video classes. So, my dear learners, if you notice any faults or mistakes in the midst of my video classes, please excuse me and free to all my tellers so that I can help you, I can serve you, I can cooperate you in this way through my video classes throughout my life. So, my dear learners, no more today. Come to share with a new Admit Any Plus. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.